Okay, so once again, I'm Patrick. I just want to talk about ActsNaked. It's kind of this idea I had that came from one of our Hackfest a couple weeks ago. Just the idea of, I've had a couple of projects where I have a lot of inputs that sometimes I want to strip, and I don't want to, apply strip to every single, attribute that's part of the models that I have. So since I've never written a plugin before, I thought it'd be kind of interesting to, tackle that. So like I said, basically the idea is instead of having to do, model.attribute.strip on a bunch of different things, let's do it all, inside of a plugin. Not quite. Hang on. So yeah, let me show you some source code. Okay. So my little simple example here, I'll bump it up. I've got, basically this is sort of a blog, and we've got posts, that's our model, and if I click on this link here, I guess I'll bump that back down. I can edit, the name, the body, and the link of a blog post. So normally if I have some leading space, either leading or trailing white space, and I save that sort of stuff, it's going to stay there, right? Like I post that, it gets stored, the white space is still there. Now, of course, you might say, okay, well, you're going to display this probably in HTML, so why is the white space that important? For a lot of fields, it might not be, but things like links, you don't really want to have white space in your links. That can kind of screw things up. So for certain applications, it's nice to kind of get rid of it, stuff like that. So of course, I might normally do something where in an update, see if I can. I might say something like post body equals post body strip. So on. If I want to do the same thing with the link, I would also strip that. But just like I was saying, that gets a little bit tedious, especially if you have a lot of attributes and a lot of models. So that's where ActsNaked comes in. It's really simple to use. You start out just, if your model's going to act naked, then just drop that in. So let's see here. I'm going to reload this. All right, so now if I save this, hopefully the white space will be stripped off of these things. Okay, so you see that it is. That's kind of cool. And the way it works right now, I think it strips white space from all of your string and text inputs. If you want, you could go further and maybe think about, okay, well, strip that from integers perhaps. There might be a case where people enter in space that's unnecessary. But again, this is more of kind of a test exercise in creating a plugin. I'll probably release it in a few weeks, but it's not really, the Rails community is not waiting for this. It's not critical. It's more just to kind of do it for fun. So let's go a bit further with that. So say that we want to only have our link be stripped. So we've got a link here. So you've got basically this only parameter. You can feed it, your attribute names in the form of symbols. So I'll save that. Now if we update this again, only the link changed, which is kind of nice. Then on the flip side, you can do except. So ActsNaked with everything except on links. So we'll update again. And of course, it does what you want it to do. It's also nice it accepts either a single symbol or an array of symbols. So we'll do only ActsNaked on the name and body. right? So that worked. And of course, the same thing works if you do the opposite. So ActsNaked on everything except name and body. And that should mean that only the link is stripped this time, which is the case. The other option it has is you can also... The way this thing works is you give it a list of... Essentially, it'll walk through your model, figure out which inputs you have that are string and text, and then put a list together, and then strip those things on a before save callback. But if for some reason you needed to do that at a different place, say you want to do that before you try to validate your data, then you can do a custom callback. I always forget what these are. So these are the either I think like 18 or 20 callbacks actually. You can see this chart, kind of how those work. So both creating a new record, or updating a new record, or updating a record, both of those have before validation. So let's try that. So that actually worked. If I didn't get that right, it would probably break. Let's see if we give it a fake callback, see what happens. Yeah, it blew up. So it's basically looking for the right thing. So yeah, that's basically it. I can show you a little bit how that works. I kind of looked at force uppercase as the starting point for this plugin, since I was kind of diving into waters I didn't know all that well. But to look at the code, basically you set up the plugin. It kind of attaches itself to active record. In this case, this is where we're invoking ActsNaked. We've got some options we can pass through it or to it. First thing it does is just puts together a list of all the string and text inputs you have in your particular model. Then at this point, it goes down and figures out, okay, well, if you provided options for only, let's go ahead and remove all the ones you did not specify. So we're only going to use the ones you explicitly specify. And then the reverse of that, if you're going to do everything except something, then it'll take out the attribute you selected from the list of all the string and text inputs. And here you can see kind of the magic of it. It looks for the with option to see if you specified a custom callback. If there's not one, it'll default to before save. If you have one, then it'll go ahead and accept that. And then the way this works is it'll send the callback, essentially attach the strip text method to the callback, and then run that whenever you are saving or updating. And then this bit at the bottom is actually where you're doing the stripping. So if you have a list of string or text columns at this point, it'll go ahead and run through and strip them. And yeah, that's basically it. So, thanks.
That concludes this episode of the SD.RB podcast. See you next time.